morning. This is Miss Tasha. And if you notice, I love purple, remember? But this is kind of different this time because I also have red on here and everything because Miss Tasha, remember, is old. And I am what is known as a red hatter because there's a poem that says, when I'm old, I will wear purple and a red hat. So I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do for you guys this time. Because this time, their theme is really just, it's called hodgepodge. There's no rhyme or reason. There's some books about this, some books about that. And then at the very end, because this one is showing on September 14th, I'm going to do a special one about Star Spangled Banner. And I'll talk about that later. Okay, remember? Purple! Remember?
I love chocolate.
And I love seeds. They even have the book with Miss Tasha. I know. And of course, my infamous voice. All right, are you ready? Here we go. Baby beep beep. All right, now I want you to make the sounds when I do this. Okay, and I'm hoping at home you really make the sounds. Are you ready? Who's behind the brick wall? It's a tough truck. He's driving to work. All right, and everybody, because he's tough, I want you to go, brum, brum. Can you do that? I hope I wish I could hear you. Okay, now the next one. Who's behind the stripy cones? Well, it's little car. She goes fast. And as high as the voice you can go, beep, 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 beep. Okay, I hope you did it. All right, who's behind the fire station? Well, of course, it's the red fire engine. He's off to the rescue. And of course, on this, you're doing the sound that their siren makes. It goes, woo, 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 woo. Okay, good. Well, who's behind these haystacks? Well, it's Busy Tractor. She has fields to plow. Chug, 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 chug. Okay. Who's behind the colorful rainbow? Well, it's Blue Plane. She's off for a spin. Whoosh, whoosh. Okay. And who's behind the bright hot air balloon? Well, a Speedy Helicopter. He's fast and happy. Chugga, 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 chugga. When you hear it in the, I can't even do it low enough, and Miss Tasha can do it pretty low. All right, now here we go. All right, what's this? I'm waiting. I hope you said truck. What's this? Car. This you all better get. Fire engine. Okay. This is on the farm. What is it? Tractor. You're up in the air on this one. It's a plane. And of course, this also is in the air. And that's the helicopter. Oh, forgot to say, this is Baby Beep Beep. The text is by Dawn Surratt. The illustrations are by Rachel Parfit and Victoria Harvey. The copyright date is 2011 and it's DR Publishing, okay? Now, here comes another fun one. This is Harry Bear and Friends, and this is all on opposites. Remember, if something's big, the opposite would be small, all right? So this is all opposites. This is, the text and illustrations are by Elliot Kreloff in 2007, and it's from Blue Apple Books. And I'm going to read the back. Who is big? Who is little? Who is near? That means close to you. Who's far away? Harry Bear finds all of his friends and learns about opposites. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. Meet Harry Bear. He is big. Yes. Well, here's Mo Worm and Yuki Mouse. Mo and Yuki are little. They're little. Okay. Of course, look at the purple. I mean, what can I say? Mo and Yuki are near. That means they're standing really close to him. Oh, they're going after a bird. Now they're far away. Well, Maya Bird and Joe Squirrel are, where are they? They are up. They're on the top of the tree. And Mo and Yuki are, they're down. They're on the ground. Well, Joe, Maya, Yuki, and Mo are in front, but Emily Rabbit is in the back, hiding behind a tree in the back. Harry is alone. They're all hiding behind the tree. Joe, Mo, Yuki, Maya, Emily, and Harry Bear are all together. They're all together. Isn't that a good one? All right. Now, remember I told you this, the books today I have either bought or have been given to me. Well, this book is by, remember I told you about my friend's grandchildren and the wacky weekend when they used their fingers and they were making all the dancing and the running and everything. And that's Jack and Samantha Blassingame. Well, they gave me this book. So I have to read it. I'm sorry, but I just have to read it. And this is Clark the Shark, Afraid of the Dark by Bruce Hale, illustrated by Guy Francis. It's in 2015, and it's by HarperCollins Publisher. All right, here we go. And this he's afraid of the dark, guys. Can you imagine a shark that's afraid of the dark? Okay, here we go. Oh, let me put you down. Oh, I know I love chocolate. Okay. Well, Clark the Shark looked over his list. Balloons, check. Games, check. Snacks, double check. Everything was ready for Clark's first big sleepover. Everything but Clark himself. It was Clark's first time sleeping outside without his glowfish nightlight, but he told himself he'd be fine as featherfish fins. Oh my goodness, that's hard for me to say. Well, just to be sure, Clark made a little rhyme. Take heart, be smart, sharks aren't afraid of the dark. But deep down, he wasn't sure at all. Oh, look at all of them. Well, the sun sank down and the shadows stretched, and here comes his friends, brave fishes, every one. Clark decided to keep his sharky mouth shut because they weren't afraid then, neither was he. All right, so Clark and his friends played hula hoops. I can't imagine them playing hula hoops. And Clark was the hoopiest of all. Look at me, he cried. Then they sang karaoke, and that's where you sing along with on a mic, but the music is also there for you. And of course, Clark was the loudest of all. La 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 la. And then they played freeze dance, and Clark was the wildest of all, because you all played freeze dance, where you dance around and then somebody says, freeze! And then you have to freeze. I know. So that's always fun. Too much sugar, Clark's mother wondered. First, she sent everyone outside. It was dark. It was scary. To keep up his courage, Clark whispered his little rhyme. Take heart, be smart. Sharks aren't afraid of the dark. He didn't want to be the one who got spooked. Ooh, it does look dark out there, doesn't it? Oh, boy. Let's tell ghost stories, said Benny Blowfish. Everyone looked at one another. They weren't afraid, not them. They told tales of the one-eyed sea monster. Ooh! And the crazy sailor. Look at his eyes. And the hook-handed octopus. Oh my gosh, he has 8 hooks. Oh no! By the time they finished, everyone was shivery. Something moved over there, cried Amanda Edelwiggle. The crazy sailor! Ah! Everyone screamed. Oh no, it's only driftwood, said Joey Mackerel. Clark tried to relax. Then, what's that? Cried Kenny Ahi. The one-eyed sea monster! Ah! Everyone screamed. Settle down and go to sleep, said Clark's mother, or I'm calling your parents. No! Cried Clark. We'll be good. Everyone tried to relax. Go see, there they all are in their little cocoons, their sleeping bag cocoons. And I like this one, of course. What color is it? It's purple. I wasn't scared, said Kenny. Me neither, said Clark. Us neither, said everyone else. But no one could sleep. Then, oh my gosh, I felt a ripple, cried Joey. Something's coming. Ah! Everyone screamed, and it's the hook-handed octopus. But it was only a clump of seaweed. I wasn't scared, said Joey. Me neither, said Clark. Us neither, said everyone else. I wonder. The friends decided to sleep in a circle, not to be safe, just to be cozier. It was dark and it was spooky and the night was full of sounds, so Clark whispered in his little rhyme, "Take heart, be smart. Sharks aren't afraid of the dark." "What did you just say?" asked Joey. "Oh, it's just a little rhyme," said Clark. Joey gulped. "Are you afraid of the dark?" Clark bit his lip. Would Joey make fun of him? In a very, very small voice, Clark whispered, "Just a little bit." "Me too," whispered Joey. "Us too," whispered everyone. They all were afraid of the dark. Oh my goodness gracious. "So how do we not be afraid?" asked Joey. Everyone thought hard, and then Clark got a big idea in his sharky head. "Let's all make a rhyme together." "Brilliant," said Benny Blowfish. "Can we put it to music?" So they did, and when they finished, everyone sang. "Take heart, be smart, don't be afraid of the dark. No fear, it's clear, fear is the scariest part. Remind your mind, let out the fear from the start. You'll find you're fine, you're not afraid of the dark. No, you're not afraid of the dark." See, Miss Tasha can sing well. Well, one by one, they all fell asleep humming the tune, and Clark was the last one at all to fall asleep, and they all dreamed brave dreams. The moon smiled down through the depths of the night ocean. Wasn't that nice? Okay, and I think I already did the 2015. Yeah, okay, I did. Now, here we go. Miss Tasha wants to know something. How many of you believe in the tooth fairy? I know I did. I believed in the tooth fairy for years and years. You put your tooth under the pillow, and then when the tooth is gone, then you get money the next morning. It's kind of fun. Well, this book is The Tooth Fairy Wars. It is by Kate Coombs, illustrated by Jake Parker. It's published in 2014 by Scholastics Illustrated. And is this a fun book? Oh my word. See, look at all the teeth. It's nothing but teeth. There's more teeth. All right, here we go. I love the little tooth fairy, by the way. Okay. When Nathan lost his first tooth, his mother told him to put it under his pillow. The tooth fairy will get it and will leave you $1. Whoa, when I was growing up, we were lucky to get a nickel or a dime. Boy, that's a lot of inflation for the tooth fairy. Because see, there he is, he lost his tooth. Oh. "I don't want to," said Nathan. "It's my tooth and I'm going to keep it forever." Said his mom. "Well, I guess that's okay." So Nathan put the tooth in a plastic bag and then put it in his sock drawer. He didn't put it under his pillow. Well, the tooth fairy found it anyway. She was very good at her job. The tooth fairy took Nathan's tooth out of the baggie, opened her briefcase, tucked it inside, and she left $1 behind for Nathan. I like that. Happy O's. Well, in the morning, Nathan was not happy. "It's my tooth," he said. "I'm sorry, honey," said his mom. "I guess you'll just have to hide the next one better." "The next one?" Nathan asked, worried. Sure enough, a month later, another tooth fell out. But when Nathan bit into a peanut butter sandwich, he hid the tooth inside a fort guarded by army men. See, there's the tooth, and there's the tooth fairy. Think that's going to stop her? I don't think so. The tooth fairy wasn't afraid. In no time flat, she had traded Nathan's tooth for another $1. Boy, he's getting rich. When Nathan found the tooth gone, he growled like a bulldog. He made a better plan when the third tooth fell out. So what did he do then? Look at her. Oh, I love her. She's just hysterical. That night, after a quick search of Nathan's bedroom, the tooth fairy took out her super tooth sensomatic and she scanned the house. It's not in his bedroom. She found Nathan's hiding place in the garage, behind some oil cans. Huh, she said to herself, and she hurried away to her next stop. Nathan showed the dollar to his mother. Again? She sighed. Why don't you try asking her nicely? So he writes a letter. When he lost a fourth tooth, he wrote the Tooth Fairy a letter. Dear Tooth Fairy, I know most kids like to trade you their teeth for dollars, but not me. I want to save my tooth forever. Your friend, Nathan. Okay, she reads it. Well, while Nathan slept, the Tooth Fairy came. She read his letter carefully. Then she took the tooth anyway. She left behind $1 along with a form letter from her briefcase. Are you ready? Here's the form letter. Dear human child, according to Regulation 8439-H, paragraph 7, should the dentulous relinquisher object to transaction, he or she shall be referred to Office 11 of the Territory Fay Division of Rates and Exchanges, the 15th League of Enchanted Commerce. There, he or she may fill out the form R8 titled Petition to Retain Baby Tooth, listing his or her reasons for requesting an exception to the policy, after which an adjudication hearing shall be held within 25,990 years. Are you kidding me? To decide the case. Sincerely, T. Fairy. Well, Nathan hid his next tooth inside a carton full of eggs. The Tooth Fairy found it. Nathan buried the tooth under a marigold in the garden. She found that one too. Oh my goodness. He left another tooth at his best friend Danny's house. Now this is getting pretty bad, guys. And he put out a cat's tooth he found instead. The Tooth Fairy lost her temper that night. It took her a long time, but she tracked down Nathan's tooth. So Nathan tried bribing her. That didn't work. Look to the Tooth Fairy. Dear human child, it is strictly against Regulation 6120-Q, paragraph 3, to attempt to bribe an officer of the 15th League of Enchanted Commerce. Please cease and desist at once. Gravely, the Tea Fairy. Well, the next time Nathan lost a tooth, he borrowed his cousin's tarantula. He painted a tooth gray and hid it in the rocks at the bottom of the tarantula tank. Nathan smeared the top of the tank with honey. Then he sprinkled itching powder over the honey and put up some signs. He's really serious about this, guys. Take good care of my tooth, Fred, Nathan told the tarantula as he turned out the light. Oh my word, look at this. Do not enter. Beware. Danger. Oh, look at her. She goes, oh my God, look at the tarantula. When the Tooth Fairy came, she read the signs, and she took one look at Fred and turned pale. She sniffed the powdery goo. Oh my, she whispered. The Tooth Fairy did not take Nathan's tooth. She did not leave $1. She left a handwritten note instead. Young man, this is not nice. I am taking a vacation as of tomorrow. The 5th League of Enchanted Commerce will no doubt be sending a substitute entity. It is my fervent hope that this individual will be treated with the proper respect when he or she visits your household. Grimly, the Tea Fairy. Well, Nathan showed the letter to Danny. I won, he yelled. What about the substitute, Danny asked. Oh, I'll be ready. Look at the substitutes. Oh, my word. They're not looking too nice. The 15th League of Enchanted Commerce got ready too. They sent a whole team of tooth experts to Nathan's house. Oh, no, guys. Oh my word, look at all this. And look at him grinning. Poor tooth experts. They tried their best, but things didn't go very well. You could say that, they're in a trap, they got stuff, everything. He's up in a sling. Oh dear. Well, the next night, while everybody else in the house was asleep, fast asleep, an official delegation came to see Nathan. Look at, it's a purple unicorn. Can you believe it? It's a purple unicorn. Oh my goodness. The visitors presented him with a special certificate of exemption and with the content of storage unit 329Z18 from the dental department, 15th League of Enchanted Commerce. Every single one of his lost teeth. Wow, thanks, said Nathan. I'll keep them forever. And he did. There's his new teeth. There's all of his old teeth. And it says, Nathan, the boy who won. And where is the tooth fairy? She's on vacation. Isn't that a good one? I know. Oh my gosh, that was good. Now, here is your challenge. Da-da-da-da! After seeing this book, I want you to try some of the challenges and see if they work. Okay, I'm going to read the back of this first. First of all, this is called Mix It Up. It's typeset by Hare Toulet, illustrated in paint. It's translated by Christopher Francelli in 2014 by Handprint Books, which is an imprint of Chronicle Books. Watch colors splatter and mix and transfer all at the touch of a finger. Follow the directions and turn the page. So this is, I want you to, when you read this, you can actually back up and do this again so you can try some of these wonderful things. All right, first of all, one heck of a lot of fingerprints. Okay, here we go. It's that time again. Are you ready? There's a little tiny fingerprint. Tap the gray spot just a little and see what happens. So I tap it just a little. Yes, there they are. But they don't seem a bit, don't they seem a bit shy? Well, tap it again. Tap, tap, tap. Okay. Here they come. But there's still a few still missing. Try tapping just one more time. Okay, one more time. Finally, they're all here now. So what you would do is you would place your hand on the page, close your eyes, and count to 5. So I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd turn the page. Ah, look at that! Yep, you got the magic touch. So let's mix it up. Here we go. All right, with one finger, you take a little bit of the blue and you just touch the yellow, rub it gently. What color do you get? Green. See? Okay, now you're going to take a little bit of the red and rub it on the blue. And guess what color it becomes? Oh my gosh, you all better know. What color does it become? What's Miss Tasha's favorite color? Purple! Very good. Okay. Now, try taking some of that yellow and smudge it on the red. What color do you think is going to come up next? Orange, just like pumpkin. Great. Can you remember all that? So let's have some fun. Do you want to go on? Okay. So shake the book really hard. What do you think will happen? They blend. They blend in together. Isn't that neat? Okay. Wait a minute here. Gotta do it again. Now here's the red and the blue. Now try tilting the page to the right. What do you think is going to happen if we tilt the page to the right? What color is going to happen, guys? Purple! Yep, you're right again. Now, close the book and push down really hard. Okay, we open it up. So the colors squish together. And what does it become? Look it. It becomes orange. You thought so? Oh, very good. Okay, now you're going to rub two colors together really hard and see what happens. Okay, you're rubbing them together. Just go like this and look at what they become. What color again? Purple! See why Miss Tasha likes this book? Awful lot of purple in it. Now, turn all of those dots to green. What do you have to do? What do you have to do if you're going to do it? You're going to close the book and you press it down and then they all become green. Yes, well done. Now, more. White makes colors lighter. So if you put white on them, okay, let's try it. If you put white on them, look how pale they are. Isn't that neat? Okay, now, if black makes everything darker. So if we put black on all of these colors, what color do you think it's going to be? Look at really dark. Look at kind of smudgy and yeah, that's if you put black on those colors. All right, the next one, oh-ho. So if you smush these two pages together, just close the book quickly. Okay, and what does it become? Guess what? We're back to gray. Remember the little one at the beginning? We're back to gray. Then this will appear. Okay, wait a minute. All right, here we go. That's it! You got it, all done. Just one more thing. Place your hand on the page and count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Goodbye. Isn't that a great book? And they have some others which are really nice too. But this one I really like. I think this is fun. Okay. Now I have to take my little thing off here. And I have to prepare myself. Okay, so then I'm going to take, and I have to have the stars, and, oh, wait a minute, I shouldn't have done this first. I gotta do this first. Gotta do this first. Gotta put on my thing, and I have my stars. There we go. And I gotta get a drink of water. Okay. I told you earlier, because I showed this book in one of my earlier ones, but this is the Star Spangled Banner. It's by Amy Winstead, illustrated by Bob Dacey and Deborah Bandoline. Copyrights 2003. Publisher Ideals Publication. This was printed and bound in Italy. The poem is by Francis Scott Key, and you know when it was? Are you ready? Today is September 14th, 2021. On September 14th, 1814, Francis Scott Key wrote the first stanza, that means the first part of it, as a poem, and that was 207 years ago. Well then, after I read it, I'm going to tell you, it's interesting when the Star Spangled Banner actually became our national anthem. The things are just gorgeous though. Oh my goodness gracious. Alright, here's the way we started. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming. Well, Jed McTavish liked helping his older brother Nathan on their father's oyster boat. The boys had worked hard alone since their dad had to join the Maryland militia. Early every morning, they sailed out from the Baltimore harbor past Fort McHenry with its big flag flying above the fort, and most every evening the boys came in with a good catch of oysters with which they would sell quickly. America was at war with Britain, and American soldiers were hungry. And there's all the oysters. Wow. Well, on one September morning, Jed and Nathan had just raised their first catch of oysters when Jed saw a British warships sailing toward the fort. He was frightened. The newspapers were full of reports about how the fishermen were being seized by the British soldiers. Worse than that, the British had burned the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. Were they now heading toward Baltimore? Nathan, look, the British ships, Jed called out. Quick, Run up the sail, yelled Nathan. Uh-oh, it's not gonna work. But it was too late. A British rowboat was headed for the boys. Halt! Shouted one of the British sailors. In the name of the king, we are seizing your boat. He's no king of mine, Jed called back. You're a real Yankee Doodle, aren't you? The sailor said with a sneer. Oh no. But look, there's some men in the boat. There's the men. Well, when the British boat came close, Jed saw that 4 sailors at the oars, but a soldier guarded 3 men seated in the middle of the boat. The British sailors pulled their boat close to the boys. Climb aboard, boys, the British Navy officer shouted. You can join these Americans on that truce ship. Truce, that means nobody can try to bomb it. Now that you must watch as the King's Navy captures Fort McHenry. It won't be long. It may take longer than you think, said one of the prisoners. The British sailors motioned the boys into the crowded rowboat. Well, as they climbed in the boat, one of the prisoners smiled at Jed and said, Greetings, young man, what's your name? Jed, sir, this is my brother Nathan. Well, he really wasn't a prisoner. He was just escorting this one man who had been a prisoner. Well, my name is Francis Scott Key, and these gentlemen are Dr. Beans and Colonel Skinner. Do you know what the British will do to us? Asked Jed. Don't be afraid. Colonel Skinner and I have been aboard the British flagship to secure the release of Dr. Beans. The Admiral freed him, but will not allow us to return home until after the battle. Do the British intend to attack Baltimore? Yes, replied Mr. Key. We sure hope and pray that the flag over Fort McHenry still flies in the morning. The British boat delivered the Americans to the deck of the small ship that lay behind the British warships. Oh boy. Boom! Jed jumped in the first cannon roared from the British ship. Immediately the cannons at Fort McHenry fired back, but their shots fell short of the British ships. The Americans would have a hard battle ahead. Look at these pictures, aren't they gorgeous? Well, the British ships kept firing as the sun sank behind the fort. When the sky grew dark, the red glare of the rockets swept through the night. The sound was so loud, Jet knew that no one in Baltimore would sleep that night. Oh my word. Boom! 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 Hour after hour, the cannons roared and the rockets lit up the sky. Nathan curled up on the deck and went to sleep. The British guards were also napping, their muskets at their sides. Mr. Key paced the deck and watched each rocket as it burst in the air. Jed followed him step by step. Where is your father, young man? Asked Mr. Key. He is serving his country with the Maryland militia. He was serving also with oysters he supplied to the troops, Mr. Key said with a smile. Yes, sir, but my father knows the harbor better than anyone. He had many discussions with the fort's commander about sinking the ships in the harbor, and it will keep the British ships away from the shore. See? Smart. That's how come they're out of reach. Well, a daring plan, and it might save the city tonight, said Mr. Key. Look at sunrise. Look, can you see? The flag is still flying. About dawn the next morning, the British guns fell silent, and Mr. Key leaned over the rail and turned his spyglass toward the fort. Our flag, Jed! Jed, I can see it, even through the fog and the smoke. Where? Does it still fly? Mr. Key handed Jed his spyglass and he pointed toward the fort. Jed looked through the glass and the gray, rainy day seemed to brighten just a little. The stars and stripes still wave, he shouted. Oh, ho, ho. Then Jed turned and looked at the British ships. They were heading out to sea, their guns empty and still. The Americans still held Fort McHenry. Just as Dr. Beans woke up, Mr. Key pointed toward the American flag and Dr. Beans let out a mighty hooray! This woke up Nathan and the British guards. They looked first at the fort and then at the ship sailing away. You men are about to let us be free, Dr. Beans laughed. or else you are going to spend some time in the Baltimore jail. This is the neat part, guys. Well, in the middle of the excitement, Mr. Key turned to Jed. "Do you have anything to write with?" he asked. "Only this stick of charcoal that we use to record our oyster catch each day." Well, Mr. Key pulled out an old envelope from his coat pocket, and he sat down and he began to write. "I would like to write a poem about this great victory today." It was noon before Jed and Nathan were back on board their little boat, and they unfurled their sails. They had not caught any oysters, but they would never forget the night of September 13th, 1814. Jed couldn't wait to tell his father. A few days later, Jed and Nathan were unloading their day's catch of oysters. Jed picked up the front page of the Baltimore Patriot, and there it started to wrap a dozen fresh oysters in it. But what he saw was a drawing of the American flag. Beside it was, in large print, was a poem by a gentleman from Maryland. A big smile spread across Jed's face, and as he read the poem. He knew who had written those words: "The perilous fight, and the land of the free, and the home of the brave." Quickly he folded the paper, put it in his pocket, and picked up another sheet. If he ever saw Mr. Key again, he would wrap the most tender oysters of all and give it to him and thank him for his poem. Now, I have to tell you this. The Star Spangled Banner is now the United States national anthem. It was written in 1814 by Francis Scott Key. He only wrote that time the first stanza. He later, when he got home to Maryland, he wrote, there were 4 stanzas, but this is the one that everybody knows. And he did it under the bombardment of the British naval forces, because they were trying to take down the fort, but that huge, large flag stayed there. In fact, they actually have this flag, the remnants of this flag, which of course is how old? 207 years old. Yes, they have it in a museum there, so you can actually see and because of this flag, this is when the United States kind of had a symbol of the American flag as our symbol of freedom. Well, it wasn't, believe it or not, until 1931. That was 90 years ago today. 90 years ago, that Herbert Hoover finally signed into law that our national anthem would be the Star Spangled Banner. It's a very difficult song to sing because it has such a big ring. Miss Tasha has, I'm sorry, I'm not going to sing it because also I sing too low and I can't reach the high notes, but it is. "Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts they watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?" So, I know it went a little longer today, but I had to read that because this is, this is a good time. All right. I hope to see you. I'm going to read, wait till you see what I'm going to look like on my next time that I read. I think they have switched to showing my shows on Saturday, but this one you are going to see right on the 14th because of the significance of it. Bye-bye.